Hello and welcome to It's Only Electric. This is a facelifted 2024 Mercedes EQA 250 Plus, the version with the longest range. And this is my full review. Let's look into the actual changes. So what's new? How good is it? Let's start. So this is the smallest car in the EV lineup from Mercedes, measuring 4.5 meters in total length with a wheelbase of 2.7 meters, weighs just under 2 tons curb weight. The 250 Plus is the range-topping model for the EQA. It's driving on the front wheels only, so the drive unit are placed here at the front, delivering 190 horsepower or 140 kilowatts, 385 newton meters of torque. The sprint 0 to 100 kilometers per hour takes 8.6 seconds. Top speed 160 kilometers per hour. One of the most welcome changes is the increased range of around 50 kilometers and higher efficiency, mostly due to a bigger battery pack that went from 66.5 kilowatt hours to 70.5 kilowatt hours in net capacity, 74 kilowatt hours in gross capacity. The range-topping version with the smaller rims has a WLTP range of 560 kilometers. This rims though, 19-inch, has a range of 520 kilometers, so we lose around 20 kilometers due to bigger rims and wider tires. When it comes to charging, unfortunately, no updates. Still a top speed when it comes to DC charging, fast charging of 100 kilowatts, 10 to 80% in over 40 minutes. Not really class leading. When it comes to home charging, 3-phase support, 11 kilowatts. The other reason for better range is the higher efficiency. That's partly due to better aerodynamics, mainly thanks to the redesigned front of the car. More in line with other cars in the EV lineup, the EQE, SUV, the EQS SUV, etc. In this trim, with the Mercedes star pattern, I think it looks good. You can get it in completely black. Which one would you go for? Let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, the LED lights and the light strip going through the whole frontal area of the car. Equipped with the AMG line sport package, meaning that you have a bit more sportier and aggressive looking frontal design here, the lower part of the car, with air ventilations here at the front, air spoilers and some black accents. Goes very well with this blue color. By the way, it's called spectral blue. So AMG line package also means AMG line wheels, but not these ones. These are AMG lines, but normally you get 18-inch AMG line wheels. These are 19-inch, so this is extra on top of the AMG line package. 19-inch, 235, 50 all around, Bridgestone Turanza tires. So before we look at the practical aspects, the boot capacity, etc., let me just walk through the rear end of the car. I think this is a nice design. One of the biggest updates here at the rear is actually the updated optics inside the taillights. Looks really good during night. Sophisticated and modern look here from Mercedes. A smart feature is the built-in backup camera behind the star emblem. So this one doubles as an opener, but also a backup camera. Really convenient because first off, it gives you a clean look from the rear. Second point is that it will always stay clean. Very smart. AMG air diffuser here at the back. Not only sporty looking, but also practical. I mean, this is a lot more scratch resistant than the actual color of the car. 340 liters. This is a fairly small boot for the class. Sadly, not much of storage to talk about underneath here. If you're lucky, you can fit a charge cable here, but don't count on that. So usable 340 liters, no frunk. The frunk is full of electronics, heat pump, etc. One good thing that compensates for the small boot capacity is the foldable seat, split into 3 parts, 40, 20, 40. So the extra central part is really good and convenient for storing long things, especially for such a small car. This one is not possible to stow away underneath. You need to throw it away, leave it at home when you want to travel with a lot of cargo. So other convenient features here at the back is the 12-volt outlet. Extra comes with some of the extra packages. Cargo nets for securing small things, cargo securing hooks, and also grocery bag hooks, one at each side. On top of the boot capacity and the practical aspect of the foldable seats, you can also equip the car with a tow hitch with a total tow capacity of 1.5 tons. And on the roof, also possible to attach roof racks with a load limit of 75 kilograms. As you see, these are standard. In this case, they are blacked out, also included. If you want that, you can choose between blacked out rails or chrome rails. It's up to you. Let's have a look at the front and the interior design. Let me just close the door. Very sturdy door sound. One more time. That's quality. Sounds really good. Some obvious things that comes with the AMG line package is floor mats with a AMG inscription, sport seats, and I mean, I do this because they don't feel that sporty, but they are sportier than the standard comfort seats. Let me just be clear with that. Another thing that comes with the AMG Sportline is the updated steering wheel with the flat bottom part, lower part. Really nice design for this steering wheel. I've talked about this earlier, more details about it soon. The interior color and seats are called Artico seats, a mix between fake leatherette here on the side bolsters and microfiber inlays in the central parts. Nice and comfortable seats, and as I said, they are really not sporty, but you have some extra bolstering here on the sides, but also on the lower seating parts. Gives you a bit more support. They are comfortable, not that hard that German seats can be, so I think it's a good mix. The driver's seats comes with extendable thigh support manually, and by the way, almost everything is manually in this car.
How can I help?
Nothing. The voice assistant. Back to the seats. Manual adjustable seats. Good thing, you can really adjust the angle to give you good thigh support. Even for me that's tall, gets fairly good support here in these seats. So a comfortable ride position. The only thing that's powered is the lumbar support adjustment, adjustable in 2 axes, X and Y. So that's good. Otherwise, totally manual. But the ride comfort in the seats are really good. Adjustable headrests in 2 angles actually. So Y and X also goes for the headrest. So gives you good support, easy to adjust, a bit stiff or hard, not that soft or plush as it can be in other cars, more to the sportier side I would say, but good and pleasant seats. Finally, Mercedes has fitted the new generation of steering wheels into the EQA. It really goes well with the interior, and this is really nice steering wheel for such a small car. And I'm a bit mixed. I have mixed feelings for the steering wheel. First thing is the obvious thing, the design and the feel and quality of it. Really nice touch and feel, nice materials, good thickness, good size, and a brilliant design with the 4 spokes with all the controls on it. That's the good things. The bad things is the actual control. It's very messy. It's too much buttons, and all of them are haptic, so it's almost impossible to be very precise when using them, and it takes a long time to get used to. The controls as such is divided into 4 parts, 1 for each spoke. Upper right corner is the control for the media screen, the right screen. Upper left corner is for controlling the instrument cluster. All fine and logical. Underneath that, to the right side, you have the media controls, phone control, voice control, and a favorite function, a shortcut. To the left, you have the driving aid, the driving assistance functionality. Very conveniently and logically placed, but they are hard to control, especially the right screen, because there is 2 joysticks and they're haptic, so it's really hard to navigate. And the media screen, actually works like a PC. So you move around like a pointer and jump between all the controls. It takes time to get used to, and it's very easy to like go too fast or too slow and end up pressing or activating the wrong menu or wrong function. So the idea is really good, but in reality it's really hard to control and get that precise. 2 paddles in aluminum, so really nice touch and feel to those. To the left, it's to increase the regenerative braking. To the right, you decrease it. Let's move on to the screens as such. 2 screens called a widescreen layout, 10.25 inch each, instrument cluster, media screen. This has the touch capability, so you can use it as a touch screen, but also control it with the steering wheel. Underneath the screen area, you have this good looking and good feeling air ventilation. I love the feel and the resistance of these. Also with built-in ambient lighting, looks really amazing during nighttime. Underneath that you have a traditional control panel for controlling mainly the climate system, the climate control. Very easy to operate, and you don't need to fiddle around with the steering wheel or the screen at all. You have everything just underneath the air ventilations. The mid console is kind of not floating, it's a solid mid console with a hidden compartment here with a Qi charger, 1 USB-C port, 2 cup holders, adaptive, 1 storage here. I don't know, it's too small for a phone, but you can put your car keys, etc. to that point. Just above that area you have the drive mode selector called dynamic, a volume knob or a volume wheel, the park assist activation functionality, a button for that specifically, armrest with a deep storage pocket here, 2 USB-C ports divided into 2 parts. Also very good cushions, so you won't get any pain in your elbows. That's good. And I must say that I'm pretty impressed by the materials and the quality of the cabin, especially here at the front. I mean, in some parts it's on par or even above the quality of the EQE and the EQS, and that's really mind-blowing, because it shouldn't be that way, because this is the smallest car and a lot cheaper. But soft touch materials, the whole dashboard, nice ambient lighting, and as I said, the air ventilations are really nice touch and feel to those. Stitching, soft touch all the way down here. Even this plastic feels high quality. Built-in ambient lighting into this star pattern on the dashboard, and fairly sturdy. I know that I have been whining a bit about the quality of the interior in the Mercedes cars, in the bigger cars. Some things doesn't really feel that premium. There's a bit much of plastic, for instance. In this case also, the black piano finish looks good, but it's not the best kind of material for keeping it clean and tidy. But it's even more in the EQE, for instance. So I prefer the interior quality of this one. That's pretty strange. The difference in the quality and the materials, and the reason for this car to feel a bit more premium than the bigger and more expensive cars, is due to those are built on fully electric, entirely electric platforms. This one is a legacy platform. And what I mean with that is that it's built for combustion engine cars and somehow adapted for this fully electric version. And you see that in things like this compartment is solid, there's no storage underneath, and you also see the trace of that here at the rear, and that's actually the drive shaft tunnel. In this case it stores some batteries instead of a drive shaft, but that's one of the legacies. I mean, you can't really utilize the platform in the best possible way. But on the plus side, it feels more expensive when it comes to the quality in the interior. One really positive thing is the sound system. I don't have the specifications in my head or on top of mind. I will write them here at the bottom of the screen. But it sounds really incredible. I mean, one of the best sound systems for such a small car. Sounds good both when it comes to the bass, the mids and the lows. And decent volume, and it's hard to break the sound system. It sounds good even in higher volume, so really impressed. I would not bother going for a more expensive sound system. This suits the car perfectly fine. Let me just walk through the software and mainly the main screen, the media screen to the right. You control it by the right side of the steering wheel, the top right control joystick. So I just see I can navigate with that haptic touch button, just slightly touching it to navigate between the things. And this is the main screen, the main menus. And it looks like the other bigger cars, the EQE and the EQS, but in a smaller format, so you miss some of the input. But otherwise the same system. You have a dedicated EQ menu, that's the electric menu, where you have things like charging, range and consumption. The smart range screen, where you can use functions like maximize the range. It gives you some handy information to increase the range for your current drive. Trying to navigate down. Come on. And this is what I meant. It's sometimes very hard to find the exact spot without touching the actual screen. So the charging menu, you see the current possible charge speed. Now it says 72 kilowatt. And this is a feature I really love. That goes for all EQ cars. That actually tells you the current possible charge speed for DC charging. 72 kilowatts, that's pretty close to the maximum charge rate of 100, and that's due to the hotter climate today. It's almost 19 degrees Celsius outside. The good thing is that this car actually comes with preheating. I didn't think that, but after reading a bit, especially here in the menu, it says that you can actually preheat by setting a fast charging as a destination. Then it will actually automatically preheat for maximum charge performance. And I have tried it out, and I'm going to release a video showing the actual charge speed, the total time charging from 10 to 80%. And here above is the link to that video when available. So preheating, that's a good thing, a good news. Sad thing is that you can't activate it manually as you can on the EQE, only by navigating to a charger. That means that if you're running Android Automotive or Apple CarPlay, that won't activate the preheating functionality. And whilst talking about Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, the wireless support or the support for those systems costs extra and are not included as a standard. It costs 3,000 Swedish crowns or 300 euros extra. It should be included in the standard package of the EQE. I mean, it's such a basic function. Let's move on to the home screen. Built-in navigation works good. This car doesn't have any head-up display. You can extra equip it with that if you want. And the Mercedes does that really well. Phone integration, Bluetooth connection. You have some application capabilities, the weather app, a built-in web browser, some games, shuffle pack, etc. You also have a store where you can download more things from the Mercedes Me store. Comfort settings. The info screen is interesting to watch. Shows you some battery information, and whilst driving it, that gets more interactive. Also some terrain information, acceleration, brake, the angle of the car, both vertical and horizontal angles. I don't know why that's necessary, but this is a SUV, so I guess that's the main reason for that. Also shows you the drive mode. The drive mode selector has a dedicated physical button, which is good. You have 4 different drive modes, or actually 3 different: Comfort, Eco and Sport. On top of that, the nice individual feature, which you can enhance or adjust after your own liking. Before we drive away, let me just talk about the back seat, the rear row of the EQA. I mean, the car measures 4.5 meters in total length, so it's not that small, but still very cramped here at the rear. First thing you see is the very low positioning of the rear bench. I mean, look at this. This is probably one of the worst rear rows I have ever experienced. I mean, the thigh support is non-existing at all. When it comes to the leg room, to my knees, as you see, this is clearly not made for me. This is for kids. And the front seat is adjusted after my position. I'm 193 centimeters tall, or 6'4", just so you know. When it comes to headroom, I think I need to remove my cap. And by the way, my cap, this is my own design with a CCS2 connector. You can buy this in my online store here at YouTube to support what I do. Back to the headroom. I fit. I mean, despite being tall, I'm not touching the headliner. So enough of headroom for such a small back seat, so that's good. Convenient features and comfort here at the rear. I mean, headrests adjustable height-wise, so in Y-axis. The central compartment here consists of 2 manually adjustable air ventilations. Looks really good, good feel to those. So small storage. Underneath that, a bit more storage and 2 hidden USB-C ports. So that's good. Cargo net here for storing phones and cables. The materials as such is actually really good. I mean, for being a back seat and for being such a small car, Mercedes has really gone all in for the quality, even here at the back. Soft touch materials, Alcantara here, and good materials overall here at the back. And also a armrest with 2 built-in adaptable cup holders. So let's take a ride and talk about the driving dynamics and the different drive modes, regenerative braking. There's a lot of things to have a look at. Let's start with the drive mode comfort. And as I mentioned, there's 4 different drive modes, or actually 3 different drive modes: comfort, eco, and sport. And on top of that, you have the individual mode where you adjust it after your liking. As always, that's the mode I prefer. But let's start with comfort and see how the car behaves. A fairly sporty car gives you a sportiness in the feeling when driving it. I mean, that's not due to the quick acceleration, because it is not that quick. I mean, 0 to 100 in 8.6 seconds. That's not a blast anymore, not when it comes to electric cars. And it is sufficient, but doesn't give you that extra driving fun, because it's still a heavy car, almost 2 tons. But despite that, and that's the speed warning assist, turning that off. Very easy to turn it off, by the way. Just press a single press on the screen. It's always present on the upper left corner. It's a silent car, and in comfort, doesn't have an active suspension, so suspension is the same, stays the same all the time. On highway, in higher speeds, it actually feels good. I mean, the comfort is fine, and the noise level also feels fine. I'm measuring the noise in another video. Stay tuned for that one, so we can compare it to other cars. I'm gonna take this car for some more rough roads, some potholes, and see how it behaves. But what I have experienced earlier is that it's a bit stiff. I mean, it's equipped with the AMG line suspension, so it's a bit lowered, but it says comfort AMG suspension, so it's more or less a comfort suspension, not to the sportiest side. But I have a slight feeling that it is a bit harsh in slower speeds, on potholes and on, yeah. It is not that comfortable in this kind of conditions. I was expecting a bit more comfort. So it doesn't handle the bumps that well, not in low speeds. So it's still a bit sporty, and that's what I mean when I say a sporty feel to the car. It's more or less the suspension. The body roll is not that much, actually. It's quite stiff, even in the side roll, but mostly stiff in the vertical travel. And as you hear, it almost sounds like the suspension is going to break. It's very harsh. Really not meant to drive on these kind of conditions. I mean, I would expect a bit softer suspension. I mean, it is still a SUV or CUV crossover, so I would expect a bit more travel and a bit more softness when it handles these kind of road conditions. So don't expect the most comfortable ride. I'm not impressed by the tuning of it. Let's move on and switch over to sport. You feel that the accelerator gets a bit more immediate. You get a quicker response when pressing the accelerator, as it should, but the biggest difference is just in the beginning. After that, you don't feel that big of a difference, and that's probably due to the lack of that extra punch or power. I mean almost 400 Newton meters of torque. That's good, but it's still a front-wheel drive car. I would have wished for a rear-wheel drive version of this car instead of front-wheel drive. I mean, that's probably due to the platform, but rear-wheel drive on an electric car is preferable if you want to have higher efficiency, but also more inspiring driving, because the torque is not that much, but still a bit too much for the front wheels to handle it. I mean, it still spins and loses some grip, even on dry surfaces. And yeah, so rear-wheel drive would have been better for this car. So when it comes to drive modes, I would say stick to individual and find your favorite settings. That will be the best thing to do. The next interesting thing is these paddle shifters in front of the steering wheel. That's the regen adjustment. When I press the left side, I reach the thing called maximum. So there's 3 different levels: normal, strong, and maximum recuperation. And on top of that, you have the intelligent recuperation. And the intelligent recuperation is as it sounds. It adapts depending on the driving conditions. So for instance, when you have cars in front of you driving on the highway, it will start recuperate. If you are on the freeway or highway without any cars in front of you, it will coast if you let go of the accelerator. So it's more or less adapting after the position you are in for that current moment. I'm really not a fan of that one because you can't really trust it. And this is not unique for Mercedes. It goes for all the intelligent recuperations I've tried so far. They don't work 100% of the time. One example when it's not good, at least for this one, is in traffic lights. So when the traffic light is red and you need to stop, it doesn't add maximum recuperation. It coasts. Then suddenly you need to brake. So you need to be able to understand how it works to be able to use it properly. And I don't have time for that. I think it's adding more complexity than actually helping the driver. So as always, I'm engaging the maximum recuperation. Unfortunately, there is no one pedal setting for this car, so it doesn't come to a full stop. So for instance now, I'm not pushing the accelerator at all, but it keeps rolling at 9-10 kilometers per hour. No full stop. So no one pedal driving, but the maximum recup is good, is aggressive, gives you a lot of braking power, but not to a full stop. Good thing, what I like with the paddles is when you want to coast, you just engage in normal recuperation with 2 clicks to the right and you will coast. So it's very easy to activate the coasting. So if you're used to coast, that's good. Let's push it a bit and see. A lot of torque steering, and I feel the tires spinning. And I mean, front-wheel drive cars is not as fun to drive as rear-wheel drive cars. I have talked about that earlier, so that also goes for this car. And you feel that it is a bit too heavy to being able to to put down all that power, all that torque that's available. I'm not saying that this car is unengaging to drive. It still feels quite nippy, but also engaging to drive somehow. Feels sporty. Now we have looked at the exterior, the specifications, the changes compared to the old version, some driving dynamics. I will try to summarize this. What do I think about the EQA? So if you are looking for a compact premium SUV, this might be the car for you. But I would really recommend you to go for the 250 Plus, because that gives you the longest range for less money. And the starting price for this one is 550,000 Swedish crowns or 51,000 euros. And that's without the AMG line package. With the AMG line package, this trim level costs 56,000 euros or 600,000 Swedish crowns. I would recommend you to spare some money and go for the standard AMG wheels if you go for the AMG package. Then you will save some money, but also a lot of range. So then you get almost 560 kilometers. But I mean, the AMG line really looks good. So the exterior looks of the car looks sporty, looks compact and nice, together with the premium interior that's better than the EQE. That's pretty amazing. So premium interior, a good looking exterior, a nice total package. But there is some caveats or downsides. For me at least, the first one is this car is front wheel drive. I would really prefer an EV to be rear wheel drive. I mean, it's heavy, it behaves better as a rear wheel drive car and will be more efficient. The second thing is the boot capacity. I mean, 340 liters, no frunk, it is really not class leading. They need to step up the practical game here. It's compensated by foldable seats split into 3 parts and roof rack and the possibility to a tow hitch, so not that bad when it comes to the practical aspects in total. But the last point is a bit surprising for me, and that's the suspension that comes with the AMG line package. It is way too harsh, way too noisy on slow roads, slow speeds, on bumpy roads. Really surprised about that. It is really not nice in those conditions. But all in all, a good package. So let me know what you think about this car. Is the update good? Would you go for a 2024 model with the new, better range, bigger battery pack? Let me know in the comments below. And as I always say, very important, subscribe, like, and engage. Let the comments flow. Stay electric. Thank you for watching. Speak to you soon.